It is a Thank God It's Friday edition of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast, episode 66 coming your way. Stacy's in the house along with our guy Timmy Whispers, who's in the middle of another business deal. What do you got going now? You on your phone? That's a fine, I think.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing over there?
I can't tell you.
You're awful quiet.
It's too late for lunch. You ordering the Vodka Express to come in for happy hour or what?
Well, I did send out our guy for some brewskis.
Did Rich?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Atta
there
boy.
he goes.
The keg did
Frank
tap
Farmer.
out.
Frank Farmer, the old keg getter right there, boy. Yeah. He had to earn his keep.
We had a doctor in here last night who pounded down a third of a bottle of bourbon, and then we finished off 2 kegs. So
Really?
Oh, my gosh.
that's a business meeting.
Wow. That's like a bender. He didn't even call me.
Had to call Ubers in the snowstorm.
Really?
Oh, my gosh.
Did you get a lot of snow up here this last night?
About 4 inches.
Wow. Okay.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Hey,
I was waiting. I was
DJ
waiting.
Pavos. How you doing? How you doing on this Friday? He was playing some mellow jams earlier. You almost put us to sleep.
Yeah,
so,
hey, there was a room full of guys. That kind of music doesn't need to be played. I need a little bit more upbeat stuff. He was playing love songs, Russian love songs. I don't know what it was.
Well, it is All-Star Weekend.
Shoot it! Oh, I've been shot.
All-Star Weekend in the NBA. The guys are in Cleveland. We probably should have Joakim Noah back for his honorary. Hey, anybody like to go to Cleveland? I mean, go on vacation in Cleveland.
Yeah.
But the NBA's best are there, and I heard they've getting a lot of snow down there, and people are trying to get in, and just a mess. So we're glad we're just hunkered down here in
Well,
Palatine.
you know what they should do with the All-Star game? I know they want to give it to cities or whatever. They need to make sure the All-Star game is in nice places with nice weather. I mean, I don't care if it was in L.A. every year, Miami, or San Diego, somewhere warm, because you want to, especially the teams out here in the Midwest, you just really want to get away from the cold weather, and you got to go to Cleveland. And listen, Cleveland fans, if you're listening, I'm not knocking your city, okay? No. I'm not knocking. I even say the same thing about Chicago. Chicago is a great city to host any kind of event. But when you're in the cold, it just takes away from that, because you don't want to be out there in that cold weather. So I would prefer to be somewhere warm every year.
Well, from your playing days, you want to get away. You get a few days off. You want to go somewhere where it's warm, maybe on a beach. And for the guys that are playing All-Star Weekend, they're giving up some of their time. So it'd be nice, at least on their downtime, to get outside and enjoy the weather.
Well, and then those guys would probably end up staying there longer than the All-Star game, because if you're someplace warm where you can actually go out and enjoy yourself and have your family there and be able to kick back for 6 or 7 days before you have to get back to work, that would be nice. And again, I personally, if I had a vote on it, I would say, hey man, let's have the All-Star game somewhere warm every year. I don't care where it is, as long as it's warm.
You should do like the Pro Bowl for football in Hawaii every year. I know Hawaii's got travel restrictions now, but once we get beyond that, have it in Hawaii, it'd be a reward for everybody.
Yeah, it would be nice. Oh, Hawaii, some really nice islands over there, man. Kauai is one of my favorite places to visit. I remember in college, we used to play tournaments over there every year. That was one of the recruiting ploys that Billy Tubbs, put out to you when he came to recruit you. He said,
going to Hawaii.
He goes, hey, listen, we go to the best place. We go to Hawaii every year for Thanksgiving or Christmas every single year. And I was like, oh wow, no other schools could say that. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to Oklahoma. And then when we went there, I started realizing how expensive Hawaii was, because you get like a little per diem. They give you per diem for the week, and it'd be gone in 2 days.
Yeah.
We were, constantly eating at McDonald's and stuff, trying to save money, conserve money, And I remember my roommate, Tony Martin, we'd always sit up there in our room and go, man, when we get some money, we're coming back to this place. I can't wait
and
to
do
come
it right.
back here. Yeah. And then, you know what? Hey, I've been back quite a few times, and I've been able to enjoy myself. Yes, I have, America.
Well, Whispers was trying to book a hotel room in Miami for later this month. He was telling me, what was it, $1,500 for a regular room?
The new Hard Rock.
What?
It's $1,200 for a standard room.
For one night?
That was on a Sunday.
Standard room?
Yeah.
On a Sunday and a Monday.
Man, hey, you better call the Red Roof Inn. They always open. They always got vacancies.
And then they expect you to gamble.
Man, please, $1,200 for a standard room.
Yeah, if they gave me $1,000 back to gamble, I'd do it. But.
Oh man, the hell with that. Like I said, hello Holiday Inn. Hello Howard Johnson. Motel 6. Are you leaving the lights on? I think I'm going to stay there for $50 a night. But I told Whispers, because we're going to be in Miami at the time, and that's going to be my first road trip back since I had COVID. So I'm really looking forward to it. Going to Miami for a few days and being able to get some sun and work on the tan a little bit. But Whispers is going to be down there the same time I'm down there, so we're going to hook up hopefully on Sunday if he doesn't forget, because Whispers has a memory of he has short-term memory, so
easily distracted.
Yeah, there's been times where I've called him and said, "Hey man, meet me in the parking lot of the pizza place. What's that pizza place? Moretti's." Moretti's.
Really?
What is it?
Here we go again.
Yeah, Moretti. I'll meet you in Moretti's at 6:30. I get out there, Mark, sitting in the parking lot like a loser. No one's there. Yeah. He doesn't show up. Oh, I didn't say Moretti's today. I said tomorrow. Oh. Okay, Tim. Okay, Whispers. Yes, it is. 30 years of abuse, America. 30 years of abuse I have to deal with. So, but we're gonna hook up in Miami, and because he's bringing his wife, and I know it's gonna happen then because Maureen, if she's there, she will make it happen.
Yeah. She's organized.
She's very organized.
She is my social coordinator.
Yeah, she's a social coordinator, and so Don will be there as well. So they'll be able to coordinate something. I'm trying to get Whisper to stay in a hotel to make it easy because all the restaurants are down on Biscayne Boulevard, so we don't even have to do anything but walk.
I'll do it.
Okay. All right.
Sounds like a plan. Hey, the NBA All-Star Weekend, the Bulls well represented. As you mentioned, we're recording this podcast on Friday afternoon. Later today, Ayo Dosunmu playing in the Rising Stars game, and all the people down there are raving about Ayo. It's the steal of the draft. They got him 38th overall. They pick him in the second round. AK never thought he'd still be on the board. Ayo told us that story last week when he was our guest on Gimme the Hot Sauce. And, it's been amazing to see. He's one of the top 10 rookies in the league right now, and he's a second-round draft pick.
He's ranked, I saw today on ESPN, the 7th best rookie.
Yeah.
And he's steadily climbing. Again, we said this on the broadcast. Me and Adam were talking about this the other night with his play. It's like, so many people nowadays are so caught up on the analytical part of the game. Well, he's not going to be a three-point shooter. He's not. His handles are not like a point guard. You got to go on the eye test, and he played in a very tough conference in the Big Ten, and he's going up against some really good, NBA caliber players on a nightly basis, and he pretty much carried that Illinois team for the last couple of years. He went back to school to work on some parts of his game to be better when he does decide to come out, and he got penalized for it. And now people are looking at this saying, wow, you know what, maybe we need to evaluate kids differently, because at the end of the day, they're saying this, Mark. You get these kids 18 years old, they go 1 year, one and done. Mm-hmm. Okay, they don't know what those kids' ceilings are. They just say, hey, he's young, we'll give him 2 or 3 years, boom, boom, boom. But the kids that go back, like a Tim Duncan who went back 4 years to get better, turned out to be a Hall of Famer. A lot of these kids who stay in college to get better, they get penalized now. And it's sad because a kid like Ayo, who should have been a top 15 pick at worst, goes in the second round at 38, which is ridiculous. Everyone knew that kid was talented. They knew he was a first-round pick. And for whatever reason, they got scared. Oh, he can't do this. He's a combo guard. Is he a point? He's a ball player. He's got a high basketball IQ, and he played in a top conference.
Bulls fans can also enjoy All-Star Saturday night. Zach LaVine taking another crack at the three-point shootout. And then, of course, Zach and DeMar DeRozan will be playing in the main event Sunday night. They'll be on opposing teams, which will be interesting. Maybe they'll guard each other for a certain period of time. And Bulls fans have to be thrilled about the news on Zach LaVine. He went out to Los Angeles to see a specialist regarding some knee pain, some discomfort he had. They drained the knee, put some lubricant in there. He's going to be good to go. And I think, Stacey, for Zach, it was really about peace of mind. He wanted to make sure in his own head. He went to a doctor who did the surgery on him a few years back, made him feel like, okay, I'm going to be okay. I can go full go now.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember, he had that devastating ACL injury. When we got him, he was healing up from that. And, whenever you have any kind of discomfort, that's the first thing that comes into your mind. Is it something that has to do with the ACL injury? And so I think for his peace of mind, he went back to the doctor who did the surgery. They drained the knee. I think a lot of people thought it was going to be worse. Like he was going to have meniscus surgery or something. And thank God he didn't have to have that. And they said he's going to be ready to go when he comes back.
It's been amazing the last couple of weeks seeing the national love for DeMar DeRozan. We've had it all year long, but now all of a sudden these people are all jumping on the bandwagon.
Everybody's on the bandwagon.
King in the mid-range.
Yeah, everybody.
And he broke a record that was held by Wilt Chamberlain, which is amazing. 7 straight games of 35 plus points and shooting better than 50%.
Well, I mean, that record stood from like 1960s.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that in itself was amazing because I'm like, wow, that record stood that long. I mean, any kind of record that Wilt Chamberlain has, you just assume will never get broken because of the way he played and how dominant he was during his era. And when you see that record, they're like, I didn't even know that. Like, you know, when they brought that up, like, 6 games, 7 games in a row, and that he has to shoot 35 or 50%, I was like, wow. You know, that's an incredible feat. And so, but just to your point, you know, so funny now listening to everybody, you know, talk about, we knew, no, you didn't.
Yeah, they said he's the worst free agent signing of the summer.
They said that he's the worst free agent signing in the summer. Now you go back and look, hindsight's 2020. Think about how many teams now would love to have DeMar DeRozan on their team.
How about the Lakers?
Could have got him cheap.
Yeah.
The Lakers especially.
Yeah, because
he wanted to go home.
Yeah.
He wanted, because you don't get opportunities to play in your home city very often. And so he put himself in position to.
That's a fine, Don.
Yeah, Don's back here dropping things. Oh my God. Oh, okay. Security. We need to get Don out of the room over here. Security. Okay. Oh, sorry, Don. She's hey, Kung Fu Panda.
You're gonna get
Kung Fu Panda. I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry. You know, she's a black belt in Thailand, hip keto. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. My bad. Yeah.
Hey, Whispers, I was wondering when Stacey we're talking about Wilt Chamberlain's dominance, what comes to mind for you?
Just people forget how strong that guy was.
I didn't think he'd go there.
I thought he was going to go with the women. I thought, she set you up with a nice lob.
But how do you know that's not where that was going about how strong he was?
But hey, Mark, I knew exactly where you were going with that, and it was right there for him. And he tried to get educational.
Clanked it off the back.
He tried to get educational.
No.
Oh yeah, well, Wilt was a great player, and he was. I'm like, oh my God.
You're not here for your basketball analysis.
Exactly.
Come on now.
Yeah. Your basketball acumen is not necessary. We're here for the off the wall talk.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're into analytics and numbers?
Yeah.
Well, let's get into his numbers then. 22,000. Yes, I do know that.
Okay, I knew you'd know. I knew you would know. I'm glad to see you over there awake over there.
And he did bench 550 with Schwarzenegger.
Oh yeah.
So we did have that, which means how many women is that you can pick up? America, this is what he's here for, okay? All right, this is this inside information on all this stuff that we don't even talk about. He knows about. So
Wilt refused to go to morning shoot-arounds because he was too worn out from the night before.
Hey, listen, when you're dropping 100 points on somebody, you don't need to go to shoot-around. Matter of fact, you ain't got to go to practice.
There ain't no strategy. Just get the ball down low.
Just show up at the game, big fella.
Simple game, right, Stacey?
It's a simple game. Get me the ball. Let me go to work. I'm going to get 100. I'm going to get 75. When you look at, honestly, all jokes aside, when you look at how dominant he was in his era, I'm telling you, man. I mean, you start hearing all these people like, can this guy play in this era? Can this guy play in this era? Wilt Chamberlain could have played in any era he wanted to.
He averaged 50 points a game one year. He played for the Globetrotters. He was a great track athlete. The guy was unbelievable.
And he led the league in assists.
Yeah.
And when he decided, this is crazy. When you talk to people, like the old school guys about Wilt Chamberlain, and they he had in his mind, they said, well, people were saying all he does is score. So then he decided, okay, well, I'm going to lead the league in assists. Well, he doesn't play defense. Well, I'm going to lead the league in block shots. I mean, whatever he set his mind to, that shows you how dominant he was as a player.
Of course, there were only 8 teams back in the 60s, but the numbers that he and Bill Russell used to put up, 30 points, 25 rebounds almost every night, it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, man, there were some dominant performances back then. I mean, look at Oscar Robertson with a triple-double. We thought we'd never see anyone do that. And you see Russell Westbrook come along and do it 2 or 3 times, So, there were some dominant players back there. It's funny listening to people because, that guy couldn't play in this era. He couldn't play. Man, those guys could have played in any era. It's not their fault. And those Boston Celtics teams that were so dominant, it's not their fault that they didn't have 30 teams. It's not their fault that, the league wasn't as balanced as it has been. And so when you look at those games, like I always get a kick out when they say, well, Larry Bird's Celtics before all injuries would have beat the Bulls. The Bulls in their prime, the championship Bulls.
Right.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, it's always interesting to compare eras. We talked about the 60s and the 70s. That was the era of the big man. You had Wilt and Bill Russell. You had Nate Thurman, Bob Lanier. You had some Wes Unseld.
Oh, man, there was some huge. The day of the center is gone. Like it's like prehistoric times when the dinosaurs gone. You just see bones. You just see old video of how big men used to play. They're not here anymore. Everything now, big guys, even at the younger ages, are taught to shoot threes and just be perimeter-oriented guys. They have no post-up games, and so that's a lost art. We talk about the mid-range jumper being a lost art. You know, DeMar DeRozan, Chris Paul, Kevin Durant has brought that back, showing people that analytics, you don't have to score 30 by shooting threes. You can be a much more efficient scorer by getting mid-range jump shots, being able to get to the basket and score. But the big man, I mean, think about it. I mean, there's not really Embiid and Jokic are two of the best big men in the game as far as like, you know, old 90s, 80 type of centers. But they have the ability to go out on the floor and also put the ball on the floor, shoot jumpers, shoot threes. But it's a lost art.
Yeah, I was watching the Philadelphia-Milwaukee game last night, and Embiid killed the Bucks with some really clutch three-point shots. So you look at Embiid, you look at Jokic, not only are those guys dominant low-post players, they're good passers, especially Jokic, and they can hit three-point shots. You have to be able to do that now as a modern big.
You do. And, you know, it's just speaking of Philadelphia, you know, just having Embiid, people got to ride him. They're going to have to ride him all the way through because they took a hit in that trade. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. They got the short end of the stick in that trade, and there's so much pressure on him now because where they're going to hurt the most is that they don't have that center coming off the bench to give him 15 or 20 minutes rest every night like they had with Drummond. You know, they could sit him down. I mean, I remember when we played him, they sit him down for almost a quarter and a half to let him be fresh the last 6 minutes of that fourth quarter against us, and they needed that. They don't have that now. And that, to me, is going to be the biggest loss for them. And I like Curry for them because he can shoot, you know, but I thought they really got robbed on that trade because if you look at Brooklyn, you know, they're able to get 3 starters basically. Their bench is rebuilt now.
Yeah, Curry's played really well for them.
Oh, he's playing. I mean, but he's a shooter. Yeah. And when you look at how Patty Mills has been able to play, Joe Harris has been able to play with those guys, you just had to figure he would be able to fit in there because he can shoot the basketball. But when they get everybody back, I mean, whew, man, they won that trade. They won that trade.
And how about the comeback they had against your guy, Master Luke's Knicks? Everybody's given up. Stephen A. Smith went on a 2-minute rant saying he gave up. Master Luke said he's out.
Stephen A. Smith, first of all, is a bandwagon jumper. Okay,
we know that. Yeah,
he might be the biggest bandwagon jumper in the world. Okay, when they were rolling last year, Stephen A. said, "Oh, my Knicks, my Knicks, my Knicks." Okay,
yeah,
and they're better than the Bulls. Before the season started, the Knicks are better than the Bulls. Okay, well now they stink. Okay?
Yeah, they stink to high
and I think you know they haven't been the same since Derrick Rose got injured. Let's just be honest, because their bench at the beginning of the season, in my opinion, was playing better than their starters. Tibbs was able to bring those guys off the bench and play some heavy minutes, and when his starters weren't playing well. When Derrick Rose got hurt, Obi Toppin is not the same player because Obi Toppin is a player that likes to play 94 feet, running and gunning and jumping and slamming. And you don't have Derrick Rose creating those opportunities for him. Mm-hmm. Quickly's had to try to be a point guard, but he's more of a scoring point guard. He struggled without Derrick because when he's playing off the ball, Derrick's able to get him a rhythm shots, get him coming off screens, catch and shoot. He's able to attack. But the Knicks, I'm telling you, they should have tried, in my opinion, they should have tried to move Julius Randle because Julius Randle is very frustrating player because he's a high volume player. He's a guy that's got to get 20-something shots just to get 20-something points. And when you have a guy that the ball stops and it's not a ball moving player, unless it's James Harden, DeMar DeRozan, someone that can actually make teammates better and get, when they're double, kick it out. He's not that kind of player.
Yeah.
Like he's either going to shoot a three or he's going to dribble to the shot clock down and shoot a fadeaway jump shot. And the Knicks are struggling with this offense. And then there's rumors that the players are kind of tuning out Tibbs right now.
We've heard that story before. And the only thing that might save Tibbs from walking the plank again is that their head of basketball operations, Leon Rose, was his former agent, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's his former agent. And he's taking some heat too because he's never around. If you remember when Phil Jackson was in that position, he was never around and was always in North Dakota and hanging out, and that was a big issue that he's not around the team. And word has it that Leon Rose is not around the team a lot, so there's a lot of dissension there. And then Tibbs' his guy, because Tibbs always got to have his guys, and with Taj being a respectable veteran there and Derrick Rose being out with injuries, there's not a lot of voices there now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of guys that say, hey guys, come on, stay a course, and And after a while, Tibbs' style will wear thin on people. You got to be a strong player mentally to play for Tibbs.
And Derrick Rose is supposed to return to the Knicks after the All-Star break. It'd be great to see Derrick back in action. Hopefully, that might help Tibbs hang on to his job in New York, because they are just a hot mess right now. Speaking of additions, the word is out that the Bulls are likely to sign Tristan Thompson to be another veteran big, championship experience. He was part of the Cleveland Cavaliers title-winning team in 2016. I was surprised. I looked up his information. He's only 30 years old. He'll turn 31 in a couple of weeks, but he's 11 years in the league, very solid rebounder, defender. Assuming that they are able to add him, what will he bring?
Well, he'll bring second chance opportunities. He's a great offensive rebounder. He's a great, position defensive player. He can get out and move his feet and guard people. The last few years you haven't really heard a lot about him, based off of he hasn't been on winning teams, and he was in Sacramento, he was in Boston for a little bit. But he is a demon on the boards. He used to give the Bulls fits when it came to offensive rebounding. I mean, and that's when we had Joakim and we had some really good rebounders. He would kill us on the boards. And so to bring him in, definitely was going to help and upgrade us at that big 4 or 5 position, because that's where we're hurting right now is having somebody come in. We're giving up too many second chance opportunities to teams, not getting to loose balls, and he'll be able to do that. And then he'll bring veteran leadership, another guy that's been around the game, that understands the game, that's respected by the veteran players on this team. DeMar, all these guys know him, so he's respected. And the younger players will have someone they can get guidance from. Patrick Williams can learn something from him. All our young guys can learn something from him. So it'll be a good pickup if we're able to get him.
All right, Whispers, time for the Kardashian joke. Hey, that's why you're here. Come on, man. Don't be sleeping.
Well, so I should act like I'll talk like Davidson. Yeah. That's cool.
Oh, God. See, America. You know what? We've heard these comments. What does Whispers do?
Yeah.
Like Whispers just sits on the screen and not say anything. and then now America,
we're looking for some help.
We're trying to help him here. We're trying to feed him lobs, and he's whiffing on him.
Well, the problem is we got some
whiff.
We got those sponsors now. I'm getting a little scared.
Oh, you're nervous?
No, not nervous. No, that definitely not be that.
Oh, okay.
Just no, you guys should be nervous.
Because we've seen the jokes on social media. They're saying, "Well, don't bring any of that Kardashian crap here to Chicago. We don't want any drama."
Yeah.
Well, what is the status? Are they together, or I don't even know.
I don't know, man. You know what? Here's it's just like when you got Dennis Rodman. I'm sure a lot of people. Social media wasn't as big back then, but I guarantee if it would have been, there would have been a lot of people talking about him in social media. Don't bring him here. We don't need a circus show. Yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, if the guy comes here and does his job and helps his team win and really strengthens up that front court position, you don't really care what he does. Dennis Rodman partied every single night, was going out and doing all kind of wild things, but he came in every night for the game and he did his job. So if Tristan is what he does off the court has nothing to do with what needs to be done on the court.
But what if his message is play hard and you can get a Kardashian too?
Oh, Jesus.
We saw Devin Booker after the finals on some island with the Kardashians too.
Just what? Listen, man, America
with Pete.
They're trying to bring they're trying to bring the show back, so they got to spice it up.
You know what, man? Listen, has anybody found Chris Humphries?
Yeah.
Okay. He's like Jimmy Hoffa. Like no one knows where he is. He buried somewhere in the backyard of the Kardashians. He never was the same. And he was a decent NBA player. Like he was a good role player.
Sure.
Guy that came in like in the 7th, 6th, 7th, 8th man rotation. And as soon as he started, dating, Kim Kardashian and getting on the show, his career was over. You don't hear about him anymore, and it's like, where is he at? Does anyone know who is? Has there been a Chris Humphrey sighting?
Or you could end up in the cat house for, what was that, 2-3 weeks?
Wow.
Oh, okay.
You talking about Lamar?
Yeah.
At the Bunny Ranch?
Yeah.
He said the cat house.
Well, you know what I meant.
Oh, I've never been there. I don't know what
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I just saw it on HBO.
See, I didn't even have the name right. You had it right.
It's a Bunny Ranch. Huh?
How'd you have it right?
The curse of the Kardashians. Hopefully
it is. Listen, I believe there is a curse. Like there is a curse. So, hey, listen, if he can handle his business on the court, and help us win and help us get to the level that we need to get to and give us a chance to get out of the East and get to the finals, hey, man, more power to him.
You think it's going to be a tough decision for Billy, assuming that Tristan comes here and plays well, about who plays late in games? Because, he's already go offense, defense with those guys.
Well, I mean, you got to play your best players. Yeah. Who's going to give you the best chance to win every single night? When it comes down to limiting second chance opportunities, defensive assignments, right now, I'm really surprised, that the Bulls are still able to maintain, number one in the East.
Crazy.
Based off of everything that's happened to them. You're playing guys like Matt Thomas. You're playing guys big minutes who are not used to playing big minutes. And I know the other day the bench production, that was one of the things that we had brought up. The bench production is not, of course, it's not going to be the same. You don't have, Kobe White's now was in the starting lineup. Io's in the starting lineup. Caruso's out. There's so many guys that are in different roles with all these injuries. Of course, your bench is going to take a hit. I think with DeMar DeRozan, you got to be concerned with the minutes that he's being played. But he right now, everybody's got to, it's all hands on deck until they get everybody back. And then once they get everybody back, Mark, their bench becomes one of the best benches in the league.
So we're looking forward to the 23 remaining games in the regular season. A very tough schedule coming out of the break. We'll talk more about that next week on Gimme the Hot Sauce. We mentioned the Kardashians and legal matters and attorneys and things like that. Our guy Howard Ankin's not a divorce attorney, but he does great work in personal injury cases. Chances are, if you live anywhere in Chicagoland, you've seen our guy Howard Ankin on a bus, train, billboard, or TV commercial with a famous Chicago athlete. Howard is everywhere. So if you've been injured at work, in a car, truck, or rideshare accident, call Howard. He's a third-generation attorney from Chicago. His number, an easy one to remember, that's 312-6-million. Howard Ankin, you can reach him at 312-6-million. So no Kardashian business, but if you have a personal injury case.
Yes, he's good. Personal injuries, baby. I mean, he's everywhere. Check your closets. Check the roof. He's everywhere, man. Howard he's good. He's really good.
Sounds like some of those Kardashians have injured some people. Yeah, I did it.
Yeah, okay, there you go. He's woke up, America.
Yeah,
we created a monster, Mark.
Whisper's putting a button on this segment. But coming up next, one of Stacey's old buddies, a running mate with the Minnesota Timberwolves, Mike Brown Bear Brown, coming up next on Gimme the Hot Sauce, episode 66. Welcome back, episode 66 of Gimme the Hot Sauce. When it comes to insurance for your auto, home, and business, make sure to contact the king of insurance, nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich at jeffvuk.com. That's jeffvuk.com. And as we get ready to welcome Mike Brown into the show, Mike may not know that Stacey has special vocal skills. Stacey, you got the jingle for us?
Nationwide is on your side. oh, baby Mike, they're not ready for that, boy. They're not ready, Mike. Brown Bear.
I'm glad you're doing the podcast. Do not give up your day job.
Hey, you know what? That hurt, Mike.
Oh, man.
Mike, that hurt. That hurt right there. We go back a long way, Brown Bear. That hurt, okay?
I give you credit just to get up there and attempt singing. I take my hat off to you for that.
You know what? I don't know if this interview is really worth my time now after hearing Mike Brown try to kill me. He's supposed to be my partner. Get the knife out my back, Brown Bear. God dang.
I'm good. I'm in your corner, player.
All right, that's good.
Hey, you guys play together in Minnesota. Stacey's told us incredible amount of stories about the dysfunction with that organization. But did Stacey keep it light? Stacey's always an entertainer everywhere he goes.
Oh, no, he was entertaining. I mean, we had, the thing about it, we were a bad team. And that was the first time in my career being on a bad team. And the same there for Stacey. And especially coming from a winning organization, and you're there. We had good guys, but from management, ownership on down, it was kind of chaos.
Yeah, Mike, I told some stories how chaotic it was because, when you come from, you got to remember, I'm coming from a championship organization. We done won 3 rings. So I'm so used to how things are, the scouting report, coaches are in tune, the players are in tune, everybody's professional. And I remember I got there the first day and Sidney Lowe was the coach and he says, hey, do you want to play this tonight? After you take your physical. I said, yeah, I want to play tonight. And we're playing the Houston Rockets. And he says, we're going to have a shoot around and walk through some of the plays. Okay, so we get to the shoot around. There's no players there, but Mike Brown is Mike Brown, me, and maybe I think it was Tellis Frank. There's only three, and the rest of the guys. I said, well, where are the rest of the guys at, Mike? There's like, because it was at 10 o'clock shoot around, and so now it's like 10:30. There's no one there. And in Chicago, shoot arounds an hour before. You get there an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours before shoot around to get your work in, get your prep work in, and there was no one there. And it was after the time we were supposed to be there. So I said, man, where everybody at? He said, oh, they must have thought it was optional. So I'm like, optional? Y'all got optional shoot-arounds in the NBA? I'm like, I never knew what an optional shoot-around was in Chicago. So we end up, remember, Mike, we end up getting people off the treadmill. There was people on the treadmill. We got Clayton Wilson, who was the ball boy. He was the equipment manager. We made him walk in and act like he was Clyde Drexler just so we could have enough. We had a person that had a cast on their leg. They was upstairs getting treatment. The coach said, hey, can you come down here and help us walk through some stuff? Person had a cast all the way up to the knee. That's when I said, man, where the hell did I get transported to? Doc Brown, is the DeLorean here anywhere?
it was definitely another world.
Oh, Mike. So tell us your experiences in Chicago. Now we know you played here in Chicago. You watched The Last Dance, right? You watched the Last Dance. Did you see it? Okay.
Yes.
So my question was, MJ was talking about his first year in the league and how dysfunctional it was for him. Did you have that same experience? Because you were there during that time too. Was it as dysfunctional as MJ said?
Well, what it was that year was the year before I got there.
Okay.
So there at that time is when I got drafted. But those veterans, I just met like the Quentin Daly, Sid Green, I knew. So MJ played that whole year with that group. I was gone. I was actually, playing, for that year was actually still my senior year in college because, he left after, we're the same age, but he got drafted in 84. He left after his junior year. So that was, that whole group. But I believe Rod Thorne was the GM. Stan Allback. So then I'm getting drafted the year after and went and played, did summer league and all that. But I'm only there now I meet a couple of the veterans and I'm really there with the rookies and the free agents that's coming in then. And then the following year, we're actually on the team together. So I missed all of the crazy antics. All I heard was stories.
Okay. So those stories were true.
That time.
Those stories are pretty true.
Drafts later, so beginning to get the guys in, that more fit into that from, Oak. I'm coming in with Brad Sellers. I'm playing with Pete Myers. And, our veterans there was Corzine, Gene Banks, and Pax was that middle of the pack guy by, being 4 or 5 years coming from San Antonio. And then they brought in Doug Collins. So when I came in, actually, Doug was my coach. He wasn't there when I got drafted, but Doug was my coach there, my first year with the Bulls.
Michael Jordan celebrated his 59th birthday yesterday, and Stacey's told us a million stories about playing with and competing against MJ in practice. You got any favorite stories about how ruthless Michael would be? Was he that way young in his career, or was he a little bit of a different guy at that point?
Oh, no. He was going to go hard. I remember at practice where Doug never coached in the college level.
Doug Collins.
High school or anything. So he gets the job coming from the commentator, has a great relationship there with Reinsdorf. So he gets the job. So, the big thing compared to like college and the pros, you do a lot of running in college. So Doug is coming up with the 17s. Oh. He's coming up with the with the full court. So we're going one time, then 3, then 5, then 7, then back down, right? So ball can't hit the ground, that type thing. And so, you really humping it. So we doing it one time and we get up there, and if you miss or let it hit the ground or miss the layup, you got to run it again. And I remember MJ saying, listen, just rebound the ball. I'll shoot it. So we doing it.
Some things never change, right, Stace?
No, they don't.
Yeah, listen, he shot every shot. And I'm saying, so you got to run faster when you got to shoot the shot because you shooting, you got to peel out and you getting it on the other end. And I was like, I said, this dude got all kind of energy. I'm like, he made you go harder just because he went that hard and he really didn't have to go that hard. Yeah, but it was amazing. But we went to 7 and he shot every one of them and made sure we didn't miss. He said, I'm taking it on my shoulders. This is just your job, what you need to do. One is going to be the passer, the other one's going to be the rebound. So
your first year was with Doug as the coach. So
exactly.
So that team when you guys were playing, did you make the playoffs that year?
Yeah, we did. We made the playoffs and got swept by Boston in the best out of the first 3, best out of 5.
Oh wow! So you got the Celtics when they were in their prime.
Oh yeah, no question. Matter of fact, I want to say that year, at that point we had played them, I think 6 times. So we were like, they were like 8-1, something like that against us that year.
Wow.
Concluding the 3 in the playoffs. They was really good. I tell you a funny story that we're out there, we're playing. So Doug's gonna come in and he's telling us, the Celtics this, Larry Bird, telling us 1 or 2 scouting things of what not to go for. Because, they tried to do it. They used to run an out of bounds, sideline out of bounds, put McHale on the block, Bird inbounds, throws it into McHale. McHale's going to kill you with a post move. If you double down, which you're going to double down off the shooter, he kicks it back out to Bird, and Bird shoots the jumper. So that was their little 2-man game on the sideline inbound. So Doug is putting the scouting report up there and says, listen, this is what we're going to do. Don't go for that. You got to get a forearm shiver, Tex Winter with the forearm shiver, hit McHale in the back, just don't let him get deep on the box and everything. So Brad Sellers is actually before his time because Brad is 7 feet 7'1" that shoots the jumper, puts it on the floor, which would be amazing in today's game.
Yep.
He fits in today. But back then, Stacey knows you 7-footer, you got from 6'9" on up, you better be able to do work in the paint. And Brad, didn't, he wasn't an inside guy. So he's a small forward. So he's guarding Bird. So we already went through what not to go for. Listen, Bird throws it in on the sideline inbounds. Steps in on the court, bends down like he's getting a piece of paper off the floor, off the court, bends down and takes off. McHale hits him backdoor, Brad fouls him and 1. So we like, oh my goodness, how'd you, fall for that? We watch it on film. There was no paper on the floor. Or nothing. Bird just went through the whole motion like he was picking up the paper. Brad relaxed and was standing straight up. He stayed down, took off. It was an and 1. We was like, welcome to the NBA, rookie.
What's funny? What's funny, Mike, is people don't, in this generation, because it's almost like, what have you done for me lately? They don't realize how great Larry Bird truly was before all the injuries, pre-injuries. So give our listeners a little bit of insight of some of those superstar players during the time when you first came up, like Dr. J, Kareem, those kind of guys you got a chance to see before age, creeped in on them.
Well, I tell you, I was very, very fortunate. Besides being blessed to have the career that I had, was the era that I'm in. So I actually getting a chance to play against Moses, Doc, Jabbar, that I'm just watching on television as the playoffs, as I'm in college and in high school. So I'm getting them at the tail end of their career. And then I'm getting, the superstar Hall of Famers from Elijah Wan, Dominique, Adrian Dantley, on down the line from Magic, Worthy coming in, playing with Jordan. So I crossed over with the guys that I used to grow up watching and actually had a chance to step on the floor with, compared to also with the young guys coming in, it was great. Because my first game is we played in the Hall of Fame game up in Springfield, Bulls, Lakers. So the Lakers are just in the finals against the Celtics in June. So now this is in the fall, preseason game in October. So they throw me in. And again, Tex, with the forearm shiver, get low. So I go in the game and, first time I get butterflies in my stomach, ever when I played. Because I'm like, okay, I have arrived. I'm out there and Jabbar's out there. So I hit him with the forearm shiver and knock him up off the box, right? And he looked at me like, yo, this is preseason. Like, we don't do this. So then he went into the hook shot and he missed. And I got the board. I was like, yes, this is jab, going with the hook. And he didn't make it. Well, so it was a great moment for me. Just the fact that here I am going against Jabbar. And actually ended up being my first game ever as a Bull.
Hey, Mike,
it was great.
Your second season, 87-88 with the Bulls, that was the year that Pippen and Grant broke into the league, wasn't it? And what were those young pups like at that point? Because, Horace didn't like getting pushed around. He always felt disrespected. Did you have to teach him a little bit about the do's and don'ts of the NBA?
Oh, Oak and I used to beat him up all the time. It was crazy because it was one point, and Stacey would know, when you're younger and you don't get, all the minutes, you have to put extra work in.
Yep.
If it's going to be 20 minutes on the treadmill or the bike or getting extra running in or playing 3-on-3, you're going to have to get it in. So I fell into that category. And it's funny to show you how crazy of a business, this league is. I used to have little bonuses in my contract for rebounds, minutes played, on the average, and block shots and charges. And I'm not a big shot blocking guy, but I know I'm getting my rebounds and, my kind of minutes thing. So I get this when I was a rookie, and I get my little bonus money for achieving that. So now my second year, my bonus is double. So I'm playing, doing well. And for some reason, I know that like Doug was notified or they told him about this next bonus on the contract.
Oh.
So now my minutes change. Yes. So now instead of I'm in the flow that I'm out there for 6-7 minutes as a stretch. Now I'm there 3 minutes and then sub. Then 2, so you never could get into the flow. So at the end of the night, it says that I played 15, 17 minutes, but I played them in small spurts. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I look back and I went and, I pulled out my contract and I said, I'm trying to bamboozle me. So I focused on the fact that as soon as I get out there, I don't care if I had to run over somebody's back. I was going to get this board, because I said I got to get it in, right away. So in turn, the whole point of the story was I used to have to put in extra time. So Pippen would have to play Horace, and I used to just beat him up during this time. And I used to just tell him, what time is it? And it was MBT time, Mike Brown time. So that was the 3-on-3 that we would have to, and sometimes Horace would be in the back of the bus because Doug would say, hey, I want you guys, we'd come off the plane and we would have to go to the multiplex and play 3-on-3 for half an hour. And he would be like, man, I don't want to go. And it would get to the point to where they actually told me that Horace and I couldn't guard each other. We would have to be on the same team. Because it was my time to really kind of shine. I was back in the playgrounds of Newark, just going hard, trying to get it in.
Yeah, that is true though, because I remember I heard stories about you and Oakley. how you guys used to terrorize them, especially Oakley, because Mike is a nice guy. Mike is a gentle guy. Oakley was a little bit different. Oakley like terrorized them. And I remember getting here the year they traded Oakley to New York, and then Bill Cartwright came, and there was a sigh of relief from Scotty and Horace from how they were treated. You could just, the stories that they was told, I was like, man, I'm glad that dude wasn't here when I was here. We might have been fighting every day.
Hey, well, see, what he was, Pippen was actually Oak's rookie and Horace was mine. So, we going to battle, but then I'm going to take you out to dinner.
Yeah.
You may get the USA Today and some donuts for me in the morning, but I'm going to, take care of you. Oak was more like grabbing you by your collar, hitting you upside the head.
Slapping them.
Here, take my bag here right now. He was more that way. And I was like, that wasn't really, my personality. Everybody's going to, carry bags as a rookie and do certain things. That's part of the, the fraternity of the initiation getting in. But, I always, took care of you. But yeah, Oak was more, I'm going to call you out. So he's going to do it in front of everybody.
Yes.
So, it's a little bit more embarrassing.
Yeah. The funny thing you just said, is, the rookie, kind of the rookie hazing, that's no longer, part of the NBA. Guys don't do that anymore. And I really? Think they need, man, you don't see it. Rookies don't carry bags. Rookies, when we came in, man, I remember when I came in, I was like, I used to get mad for the stuff they made me do. Go get some chicken, to get on the plane. We were flying commercial. They'd be like, hey, we want you to go get some chicken. I'm like, man, I don't know my way around Chicago. I just got here. So I deliberately missed the plane because I didn't want to go get no chicken. They always thought I got lost. That was the story. Stacey got lost in Chicago. No, Stacey went home, went to bed. He wasn't going to go get no damn chicken. I ain't the one to get no damn chicken. But yeah, the rookie hazing is no longer, man. I know at least here in Chicago it's not. I mean, all along I've been doing this for 16 years, and I always wonder, like, why do the rookies not get the bags off the plane, or, they're not doing those things? And I think they should bring it back, just because it's a rite of passage. Because you remember, Mike, you were still a rookie to the following season of your first game, your first NBA game, the second year. So you were still doing rookie stuff going into your second year in preseason, and you weren't officially an NBA player to the veterans until your first game of your second year.
Right. Yeah, because those rookies doing that preseason, they're a rookie, but they're not officially a rookie until they make the roster and play that first game. Exactly. So you're exactly right.
I mean, I remember MJ. MJ was tough to on us. I mean, I remember him in the shoot-arounds, he would kick balls up into the second level of the arenas and say, all right, go get it, rookies. And finally, me and BJ, we drew a line in the sand. Because, Will Perdue was the only rookie, and I think Jack Haley the year before. And then when me and BJ came along, I rode with the rookie thing. I rode with it for a little bit. But after a while, it started getting out of hand, man. MJ started kicking balls up into the second row, telling us go get them. I like, y'all, man, I'm not doing that. You know how it is too. Like when you're getting taped, and as a rookie, you're up there getting taped. If a veteran comes in, he can bump you off the table.
You got to get off the table.
You got to get off the table. And so MJ was always the last one coming in to get taped. Okay.
Yes.
So MJ would come in, and we'd always have to wait for Bill to get treatment. We'd have to wait for all the older guys. Even Scotty and Horace were veterans over us. And so when MJ, finally we're like, okay, we can get on the table now. MJ'd walk in, get on the table, Rook. Like, man, we got 10 minutes before practice, bro. You ain't gonna get fined. You Michael Jordan, they gonna fine us. I don't care. Get off the table. Get off the table, rookie. And man, we'd have to get off the table and we'd get fined for being late. And we've been there for and we'd be there, Mike, for 2 hours. We'd be there for 2 hours.
Yeah. And the crazy part about that, where I used to see that, is I never got taped. I would just hang out in the training room because I didn't get taped in college. I was just fortunate enough with the ankles. I never got taped. So you got Mark File there, and MJ is exactly what you said. It's the last moment. He's coming in with his practice gear already on.
Yep.
And you got to get up off the table. And I used to see him through the glass of how, rookies with the seniority, they was just like, dang. And you sweating because you get ready to get fined.
Yes.
Because you late.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly
Tell us a little bit,
right.
Mike. Tell us a little bit about, because you got an interesting history, because you played with quite a few Hall of Famers. Top 50, top 75 guys. After you leave here in Chicago, you didn't know MJ was going to be like that. You knew he was going to be good, but when you left here, did you think that he was going to be the Michael Jordan that he ended up being?
Oh yeah, I knew he was going to be like that, because I was with MJ back in basketball camp at 16 at 5-star.
Okay, Howard Garfunkel. Is that Howard Garfunkel?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Howard Garfunkel. Will Klein.
Okay.
And I tell you a funny one that is a typical MJ story, and how competitive and his drive is that they had the McDonald's, they used to have several McDonald's All-American games, and they used to kind of do them regional. They would have like the Dapper Dan, they would have the Capital Classic in the
round
DC
ball
area. So they would have like those local All-Stars play against a McDonald's team. So it really wasn't one of they also had the East-West McDonald's, but they had other little ones, right? So that the DMV area produces a ton of, great players, that, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So Adrian Branch is, again, our year. And he plays at Maryland with Lynn Byers, and, they the ACC. And so they go against, Jordan and Duke and Georgia Tech, the whole line, the conference. So AB was huge. 6'8", small forward, lefty, jump, pass, did everything, right? And so they play in the Capital Classic. I wasn't there for the game, but I heard the story. So AB is clowning Jordan on being, the country guy. Or you got on dungarees. Your belt is a twine, a piece of rope, like Buck Finn. He's doing all this. The MJ. The game, I don't know who ended up, winning the game, the McDonald's All-Stars or the DMV guys. I don't know. So now we're on the Bulls and we draft Adrian Brown.
Oh.
So we're there together. So this is when I hear, really, what happened on the bus back in high school, because now MJ sits in, how he sits all the way in the back.
Yep.
So, we on the bus and I think we was going to a game or something like that. This is all preseason. And he goes and he says, Adrian, AB, he said, yo, what's up, Mike? And so now he was like, yo, man, remember we was the Capital Classic and this and that. So now AB is feeling really good because Jordan done called him out.
Yep.
You got other free agents and rookies, on the thing, because, it was a lot more rounds of the draft back then. Yep. I think it was 7 or 6. So you got everybody there. And so he was like, yeah. So he said, man, remember, you was over there, man, you was joning on me, man, telling me about my dungarees. I got a cuff with him and about my belt. And so, AB was, yeah, man, we go way back. We only joking. And he said, man, let me tell you something. I told the Bulls to draft you. So, AB is like, yeah, he's sitting up in the chair in the bus, He was like, yeah, man, I told them to draft you. And he was like, yo, man, kind of like good looking.
Yeah.
And so he goes on, he says, listen, I told them, to put you on the red team, because the white team, was a start. He said, I told you to put you on the red team. And I make sure that we're going against each other every single day. And I'm going to bust your ass every single day of practice. And then we going to cut you.
Oh.
Listen, sure enough, he ain't make it out of preseason.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was, I want to say, the second round pick.
Yeah, he was. I think he was a second round pick. He was. Yeah, he was. Yes. He was really good at Maryland.
Really good. They cut him. Now the Lakers picked him up, and he ended up winning the championship that year. But listen, MJ, remember that in every day of practice, because you had the white team, the red team, and then we had guys that had on pennies because we were that many people.
Yep.
And listen, he made sure they was never played together, and he got up in his jock and was in his face, wouldn't let him get his shot off. It was crazy. And then he said, and then we gonna cut you.
We gonna cut you.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta be his friend.
Wow. But see, and you know what, Mike? That's funny you say that because when I tell people how competitive he was, it just didn't go like he didn't forget anything. Like if you slighted him at any level, he was gonna get you back one way or the other. Yes. And that's why, when I see Scotty with going through the situation right now, and Scotty, writing the book and making the comments that he made about MJ is really surprising. Number one, but MJ's not gonna forget that.
Oh no, he's done.
Yeah, their friendship is over.
He's done, and the thing is, I understand the approach of selling books. This is why you would say those things. But it's almost to the point that, it's hard to speak on it because I don't know how he actually felt during all of those years. I can't speak on it, that way. But it's almost like you juggle, is it kind of worth it? We all getting older here. You're 50, going to 60. You just say MJ 59. Was it, is it going to be worth it, to kind of sell a little bit more to lose that when we do get together? I see you, we hug, we laugh, embrace, that's gone. Yeah. That's not going to happen.
Hey, Mike, before we let you go, you began your career in Italy and you spent some years later in your career over there. What was that whole experience like for you? What are some of your favorite memories of Italy and playing European basketball?
Well, I tell you, it was great for me. The thing, I went over and I, again, I got drafted by the Bulls, and then I went over there my first year and came back to Chicago. It was great. Learned the language, got a chance to, travel around Europe, see all these things that I'm reading about in textbooks, from the Colosseum to the Leaning Tower, to the Duomo in Firenze, the canals in Venice. I'm here and never really thought I would be there being a kid from Newark. And then, got a chance at the end also to go over to Spain, went to Spain, lived outside of Barcelona, met my wife over there. And, it was great. So I embraced the whole European experience for me because I was just more open-minded that way. Now, it's not for everybody because I had guys that was over there that couldn't stand it. It was tough for them to turn on the TV, not hear something in English. Mm-hmm. And, it's one or two guys I know that just took their car, went to the airport, and just bounced out in the middle of the night. Yeah. And went home, But for me, I embraced it. I enjoyed it. And it prepared me for the NBA when I was out as my first time going over there is because over there you had to do mandatory military service. So you're playing against guys that are like grown men. So, they're more physical. And I'm like, wow, it was more physical there than it was in the NBA. So when I came back, I was like, oh, I could get away with this here. Oh, yeah, it was it was good for me. I really, I enjoyed it. I embraced because I was into the moment of this is where I'm playing. And I'm actually getting a chance to play basketball for a living. What is there to complain about? Yeah. So I took advantage of it that way. But it's not for everyone because the culture, the food, the language, your ego. Some guys are looking at, hey, I had a good game in college against him, and I see him on the Pacers, and I'm over here in Napoli. So it played a mental thing, on some guys also. But now, for me, I loved it.
Before we let you go, tell us a little bit about your time in Utah and playing with John Stockton and Karl Malone, because that was the start of that Utah team turning it around and you guys, being very, very good. And I remember those teams. You guys were a physical team. You guys, that pick and roll, that back screen, Stockton would set that rip screen, hit you in the back and nearly hurt your spine. Yeah, I know all about that, Mark, with Big Mark Eaton. Y'all had a squad, dude. It was tough beating y'all.
Yeah, it was. And again, we had more of, it was different than Chicago. We had a way more kind of a military type of approach. So, like when we at practice, we all dressed alike. So, we had it, we were uniformed that way. Again, never late. We didn't even have a fine system, for example, because it was like, it was kind of instilled, hey, if you're a minute late, you're really 11 minutes late because you just affected a minute from those 11 other teammates. Oh, wow. So it was a completely different thing. And you saw that when we played, because it was very much on execution, on the precision, from the screening, from the pick and roll, and, just running the lanes, curling up under the basket and running through, that way. Disciplined Johns coming down the middle, getting to either elbow to pass the ball. So we had a lot of success, and the Jazz took pride in finding those guys to fit in that type of system, because, again, that wasn't for everyone. If you was kind of like a one-on-one guy isolating, you would never fit it in Utah. So we just kind of kept fine-tuning that machine and adding pieces. And it was really, you knew what was coming, but it was really tough to beat.
And then it all winds up in Minnesota with Stacey.
Those are the lost years, Mike. You gotta find those on a tablet somewhere. Those are our time in Minnesota. I try to forget those times, but I will say this: like being able to play with Mike and Chris Smith. Tellis Frank, Thurl Bailey. I mean, guys that actually were professional, that came to work every single day. They were never late. They always led by example.
Not like J.R. Ryder, huh?
You know what? Talented, him and Christian Laettner are talented kids, but just, different on some different stuff, which really surprised me, Mike, about Christian Laettner, because I thought seeing him coming from Duke that he would be a lot more, more receptive to structure. And that really surprised me when I came to Minnesota, because I'm like, he played for Coach K. So you thought, and he was a big-time college player, and you just thought he was
played on the dream team.
Yeah, you just thought he was a different guy. Like he got it. Like he was like a pro, And I was really surprised with what I saw. I mean, I love JR. If JR would have had his priorities in order, he could have been a Hall of Famer.
Tell that story you told us before we went on the air about him showing up just for a tip and getting a start.
Oh, Mike, I was telling about the time that he came late to the game. We getting ready to play Houston, and he came in probably about 15 minutes before the tip off, and they just and he looking at us like we was early. Like he came in the locker room like, y'all here? Like, man, the game started in 15 minutes, and then he gets dressed. There's no repercussions. That was another thing I didn't like.
Right.
Is that there was no one was held accountable for their actions. It was guys could do whatever they want whenever they want, and they were allowed to do it, and that's why they continue to do it. And so they didn't want to offend these younger players. It's like, man, you got to have some rules, some guidelines. I'm coming from a place of structure. Mike was in Utah. He was, you just heard him. They had to dress the same way.
Yeah.
That this is structure. So when you get guys like that coming in from those programs, we don't have to be taught that stuff. We already know how to be pros. Now you have to teach these younger kids how to do it, and they didn't do a very good job of that. And it was, Sidney Lowe, I love Sidney, great assistant, but the head coach was tough. And then we had Bill Blair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on, back up, Stacey. I don't know if you knew this part. When JR came in that day for the game, he actually came in jogging, and he had went to the bathroom and put water on him. It said that his car broke down and he had to run to the game.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he was late.
Oh, I remember that now.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, it's minus 15 out there.
Because it was cold. It was super cold.
Yes, and that's what he said. Man, I had to run here. His car broke down. But he stopped. He was already in the Target Center.
How about the time? How about the time? Because it was. Hey, Mike. How about this? How about the time it was legendary because he was late to everything, right? So remember when the radio station put that big alarm clock outside his house to they set the alarm clock. It was a huge alarm clock, and it was huge, biggest alarm clock I've ever seen in my life. And they put the alarm clock right outside his door to go off so he wouldn't be late to practice. And then a couple of his boys came out. They had guns. It wasn't a joke to them. It was a joke to the radio station, but it wasn't a joke to them, boy. Boy, we could write a book about our time in Minnesota, Mike.
Oh yeah, but without a doubt. We had good guys, but they were characters. And what happened was exactly what Stacey said. Since they was never held accountable, and he had mentioned there, with Leitner, you would think with that structure he had it. But then now you gave him the freedom. And he just went and took that. You gave him an inch, he was gone with a yard.
Yeah, it was bad, man. It was like the inmates ran to prison, and it was like me and Mike, we was just trying to do our time and get out. We got to make a choice. Do we roll with them or do we, do what we supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? But when you're a professional, and I came into a professional team in Chicago, because you had Paxson, you had, Bill Cartwright, you had Charles Davis was there, Craig Hodges, MJ, Scotty and them were in their third or fourth year. So there was a veteran-laden team, Ed Neely. So, I coming into some veteran guys, and I learned from the very get-go how to be a pro by just following and watching and shutting up and watching. Man, when I came on that team, when I went to Minnesota, when they say the grass wasn't greener on the other side, because I asked to be traded. I asked to be traded because, Scott Williams went to Philadelphia. Horace went to Orlando. I did ask, Phil and Jerry to trade. They didn't want to trade me. And I said, no, I want to go somewhere I can play. Because Michael went to go play baseball. The team was breaking up. And so they made the trade for Luke Longley and me. And I was happy about it. I was like, I'm going to play. I'm going to get to play 40 minutes a night. Yeah. And I remember, Houston. We were playing Houston one night. This is when I knew I was on a bad team. We're playing the Rockets.
Wait a minute, is every game against Houston?
No, but this is my first game against Houston. Against Houston.
Okay.
So I go out on the floor and I'm having a great game. Like 19 points. I had like 6 blocks or whatever. And then we're getting beat by like 30. Houston's killing us. And so I remember Kenny Smith and Vernon Maxwell say, yeah, you ain't, Black Jesus ain't on your team now. He ain't on your team now. Welcome to the real world. That's when I knew that I went from the penthouse to the outhouse. I was like, wow, man, I'm in, because everybody started saying that. Like every team that I played, they were like, yeah, you ain't got him on your team now. I'm like, whoa, man, dang. Like that's a bad feeling. Yeah. Or wait a minute, one more thing before I let you go. Or Mike, how about when you go to the clubs at night, right? You go to clubs like Roxbury in LA, you see the Timberwolves guys in the line. Like most NBA guys just walk in. Hey, Mike Brown, come on in. You play with the Jets. Come on in. Stacey K, what up? Come on in. How many people you got? And then I would walk into the club. I hear, hey, Stace, hey, over here. And I'm like, who's calling my name? Yeah. Like, I look over there, and it'd be my teammates from the Timberwolves waiting in line to get in the club.
That's
and
no
I was
respect,
like, I was like, yo, y'all in the NBA, what y'all waiting in the club? What you waiting in line for? Hey, man, they tripping. I was like, hey man, come on, let my boys in, man. Come on, man, let my boys in. They with you, Stace? Yeah, they with me. Come on, man, come on in. I was like, do y'all get this treatment everywhere? Like, man, certain cities, man, they be tripping, man. They say don't let no sorry team in here. I'm like, wow. But we got a lot of stories, Mike.
It was another world. We lost. We had there were like 2 or 3 times those 7-8 game losing streaks. We would be losing now. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, grass wasn't always green on the other side, Mark Janowski. I tell kids nowadays, I'm like, hey, you know what? Be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. And I was happy to go. I wanted to get more playing time. Boom, boom, boom. But once I got there, man, I realized, man, I fell from the penthouse to the outhouse, and there was no elevator. I just went right out the building, out the window, straight down, splat on the ground. But I enjoyed playing with Mike Brown and Tellus Frank and Chris Smith, all the good veterans I played with. Thurl Bailey. We used to call Thurl Bailey the ninja, because you never saw him anywhere, and all of a sudden he'd pop up like Mr. Deeds in a restaurant in a corner somewhere. Right. Thurl over there in the corner? When did he get here? But it was great playing with those guys, and they kept you sane. You know what I'm saying? Because I never lost that much in my life. I've never lost 6 games, 7 games in a row. It was devastating to me because I've always been on a winning team. And to go there and going through these long losing streaks, losing 5 and 6 nights, oh my goodness, it was brutal.
And they didn't care.
No, they didn't. And no one cared. I mean, the veterans, we did.
Like,
okay,
well, we got tomorrow.
Hey, where are we going? What city are we going to? L.A.? Oh, I can't wait to get to L.A. Like, what? Are you saying you can't wait to get to L.A. to play the Lakers, or are you saying you can't wait to get to L.A. to go hang out at the club? That's the kind of mentality it was. But like when I know, and Mike will tell you, when I'm in Chicago, we lose a game. It was personal. Like we took it personally. We didn't cry and sulk, but we wait till we get that team again. Wait till we get that team here. It was like, man, they just didn't care. And it was just a culture. People talk about culture. Their culture there was all about, because they were an expansion team at that time. They were a few years in the league, an expansion team. But Miami had turned the corner. They drafted really well. They turned the corner. They were becoming a playoff caliber team. But Minnesota, man, for the first, their existence was the first 10 years were bad.
Right.
Woo. Oh, Lord, Mike, you brought back memories.
If you remember, Stace, when they came in, they brought in a muscleman.
Yes.
And he took the approach because he had a bunch of veterans from Pooh Richardson to Tony Campbell, Randy Brewer. He put in, once we win 15 games, everybody got a bonus for every game after that number.
Oh, wow.
So you had guys that was almost like, we playing in the playground. Well, I'm going to go take this into my own hands. Oh, we all going to get that bonus next game. So when they got rid of Muscleman, then now they bring it in and they trying from a Sid Lowe and the Bill Blair, and they rotating coaches after every year.
Oh, man.
Because they came out the gate, just trying to load with veterans from other teams, trying to make a mesh, and that didn't work either.
Yeah, it was just a bad experience. And now that we're sitting here talking about it, I'm not even a drinker, Mike, but you forced me to go get some whiskey because I feel like I've been sitting on a couch with a therapist. Like we just dug up some stuff I tried to bury, and it's back now, Mike. Thanks to you, I have to go out and drink me some vodka now because I'm the anxiety, and it's just taking a grasp of me right now. My experiences in Minnesota. But I love the people.
I want Bill Blair on your show.
Oh man, let me tell you something. If you ever see Bill Blair on this podcast, because he got throat punched and he wants to talk about why I did it. Okay, because I'm gonna throat punch him when I see him. Okay, that man. If I see that man, it'd be too soon. Okay.
Oh
yeah,
crazy.
Yeah. But Mike, let me tell you something, boy. I appreciate you coming on the show, boy. You got some of the stories you tell. That's why people need to hear, these older guys who played in the league, what it was like to play against certain guys. And you got, how many Hall of Famers you got? 3 or 4?
No. So I got Pippen, Grant, Carl John, and then finished my career in Phoenix. So I had Nash and Kidd.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
At 6.
Yeah, you had a great career, Mike, including your time overseas, and it was really great catching up with you. Stacy's told me that you're one of his favorite teammates ever, and we're glad we could bring you here on Gimme the Hot Sauce.
Oh, hey, I appreciate it. I love Stace, Dan, Mark, Tim. My pleasure meeting you. And, guys, thanks for having me on. King, I appreciate
We're going
it.
to, and like we do with all our special guests, we're going to send you some bottles of my hot sauce.
To the Washington Monument.
Yes. We're gonna send you some. We're gonna send you some hot sauce. We're gonna send you 3 flavors.
I give you my address. And,
yes. Yes.
I appreciate that. It'll go to good use.
All right. Good. Well, you got something coming, buddy. I appreciate you coming on the show today, Mike.
Great catching up with Mike Brown.
A lot of fun, boy. Stay in touch.
All right.
Don't be trying to hide from me either. Changing your number. All right, I'll find you.
I know you're gonna find me.
I'll find you. All right, big dog. Good seeing you.
All right, now. Thanks.
Mike Brown, our special guest on episode 66 of Gimme the Hot Sauce. We're coming right back after a quick time out.
If you like hot sauce and barbecue sauce, then you're listening to the right show. Gimme the Hot Sauce has the best small batch organic spices to spice up your kitchen. Chicago-style red sauce with the garlic twist, our St. Pat's Verde green sauce with extra avocado and cilantro, and our King's Q, a bold, spicy, and sweet sauce just like me. Use code HOTSAUCE21 to get 21% off your first order. That's hot sauce for 21% off. That's Gimme, Gimme, thehotsauce.com. And also, we have t-shirts, mugs, and other swag too. Go. So and she'll like it too.
And
oh my goodness!
I thought that was whispers. I was making that noise over there. I was like, "What are you doing over there? Why are you sweating again?"
Yeah, I am.
I thought we had Kendra last time. Kendra, we want you back on the show.
And coming soon.
Coming real soon
is the 1871.
Oh, dun 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 dun.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
We
got it. Listen, all our loyal listeners and all the people who have purchased the hot sauce, one of the things that we get constantly is they want the hot sauce to be hotter. So now we're bringing you the hot sauce. We're bringing you a super hot sauce, and it's the real hot sauce, okay?
It's not the one that made Pavel throw up, is it?
No, we dialed it down. America, I wish we'd had this on film. We were doing taste tests for the new hot sauce, and we gave DJ Pavel, who thinks he has an iron-coated stomach, so we decided to give him the hot sauce and let him taste it. Okay,
that's
Dawn, my girlfriend, she likes spicy foods, so she was tasting it, but she was tasting it with a chip.
Yeah.
Pavel decided to use a spoon and just like he was taking medicine. He was just going, he's down in 3 different flavors, and then finally he got to the one that just like what was that one called?
It was just called
the Atomic.
The Atomic. We named it the Atomic because it looked like blood. It just looked hot, And then when you open up the you open up the lid, you heard a. So you just knew it was hot. So Pop was like, "Oh, this is not it." The first one, "Oh, this is not hot." "No, this is okay. This is not hot." Next one, "No, this is not hot." And then the last one, "Oh!"
It's like letting the demons out of the bottle, right?
And he's sitting over there. America, sweating. We couldn't see. You guys could not see it. But the word was that he went out. It was so hot. He went out and he relieved himself. And
I took that stuff home and cleaned my rims with it.
Yeah. He went to the bathroom and threw up. And then so Timmy whispers during the show, says, "Hey, are you okay?" Because he got a little nervous. Okay, got a little nervous. He's looking. He was pale. He started to sweat. So we got a little nervous about Pavel. So we had to make sure that he was okay. So Tim says, "Hey, are you okay? You need to throw up." He goes, "I already did." So it's like, you want us to get you some milk or something? And it was really concerning. So we decided to dial down off that one.
So it's not that one. It's the finely tuned that you're going to enjoy.
Finely tuned one.
Check it out.
We don't even want to give the name right now, Tim. Don't give the name. Did you already give the name?
Yeah, you did.
You're like, no.
Part of the name.
No. You're like an old refrigerator.
Soon.
Yeah, coming soon. A new serious hot sauce. So just be on the lookout for it.
NFL season wrapped up. Stacey's Bengals thought they had it right down to the wire, and then Matt Stafford let a late drive.
You know what, America? That last play, the last play of the game where they sacked Joe Burrows, if he would have had 2 seconds.
Jamar Chase running wide open.
Yes, Chase, because Jalen Ramsey fell.
Yes.
And he was wide open, which would have been a walk-off, game-winning touchdown. But he had no time to throw. And what really got me about that game is, what was the difference from the first half when the line blocked excellent? They held, Donald didn't get in not one time. They didn't sack him. They looked really good. In the second half, it was like they came out. Now, granted, the Rams made an adjustment. They started stunning guys. They started looping, guys around. Donald was coming, cross going, and then you had Vaughn. Vaughn was going around the outside, looping in. So they were able to put more pressure up the gut because they were double teaming Donald the whole night with the center and the guard or tackle, whoever it was. And then they made the adjustment at halftime, and they started coming out, looping guys around, and they made the adjustment. But man, I mean, it was terrible. Like, he got sacked like 9 times in the second half. It was like, okay, guys, you're in the Super Bowl. Like, give me 12 more minutes. Just give him a little time to find the receivers. Because when he has time, that kid is unbelievable.
And he kept playing even through a sprained MCL.
Oh,
man.
They
showed a lot of courage there.
Man.
Hey, maybe the Rams pass rushers were just fired up after watching the halftime show. Did you dig that?
Yeah, I really, listen, Listen, I'm a Dr. Dre Snoop fan. I thought it was awesome. I didn't expect to see 50 Cent there.
Yeah.
Upside down.
Because I don't even think he was on the show.
He wasn't.
On the marquee.
No.
So it was Mary J. Blige, Snoop, and Dr. Dre. So that's all I assumed.
That was a great show.
It was an awesome show. And then all of a sudden I see 50 Cent hanging down,
He
from
didn't
the
look
side.
well.
And I was like, that's not 50 Cent. That's like $3.50. 50 was huge. I mean, like, because, I'm so used to seeing 50 like yoked.
Jacked.
Like, when you go back, you see it's your birthday video, right? In the club, you see 50 up there doing the pull-ups. He's all ripped up. He's got that prison body like he's been in the yard. And then all of a sudden, this guy pops down and is hanging upside down. I'm like, who's acting like they 50 Cent? Is this like a parody or something? Like, this is a joke. And then it was like, yo, it's your birthday. And then all of a sudden he was like trying to do a pull up and he couldn't. He couldn't do a pull up.
Someone help me down.
Yeah, he's like
all that power money from stars.
Well, hey, listen, I ain't hating on him. I mean, but that did not look like 50 Cent. That did not look like 50 Cent. Somebody said
that's good, Stace.
350s. Somebody, but I always read the comments on Twitter.
Yeah.
And the comments that they were saying about it, man, I tell you what, people are funny and they're mean at the same time. They were saying it's no longer 50, it's inflation. Hey, 50, I love you. Wasn't me, baby. It was what they were saying, but it was a great halftime show.
Bitcoin.
It was a great halftime show. I really enjoyed it.
So now we got to wait 200 days for more football and baseball. We don't know when they're going to play. So I guess it's all Bulls all the time.
Well, baseball's getting a lot closer than what people know. Because I've got some insides on some information.
Oh, you got the Sport in the Sox hat today?
Yes. I tell you what, hey, the Cubs, I know they can't talk about it right now, but they're in a position.
Carlos Correa
is between, I think it's between the Yankees and the Cubs. And, just some inside information from people. He really likes Chicago. So
you really like coming on Gimme the Hot Sauce,
yes,
too.
he did. And you know what? He wants to come back on. So, we'll definitely get him back on the show, but that would be a great pickup for the Cubs because he's in position to make over $300 million. I mean, was it Seager from the Dodgers ended up getting like 310, 315. He's looking at like 325. And that's some lot of money, and he's in a position to get it. So it's between the Cubs, I think, and the Yankees. So
how about Stacey breaking some news on this show?
Yeah,
great.
When you have friends in high places, you get this information. I'm not telling the people where I got it. I can't
of course not.
My sources, but all I know is he loves Chicago. And he even said it on the show.
Yeah.
He loves coming here playing, in Chicago. He loves Chicago. And he's talked to Baez and all, and they, hey, Chicago's a great city to play in. So if the Cubs are able to swing that deal to be able to get him, and you got to figure the Cubs are going to try to rebuild and try to get back to where they weren't, where they gave up a lot of talent, just let them kind of, walk out.
Yeah, and to get an MVP caliber shortstop, that's a good guy to build around.
I saw something the other day online where they're talking about, maybe bringing Rizzo back at
on a
DH?
short-term deal.
Yeah, a short-term deal. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Because there's certain guys that, when they're with their team, you just identify them with that team, And even though he played well for the Yankees,
didn't look right.
He didn't look right playing with the Yankees. Yeah. And the same thing with Baez, playing in New York.
Now he's going to the Tigers.
Yeah, now he's going to. Those guys just don't look right. Now Chris Bryant looked good in the Giants.
Yeah.
Like I will say that he looked like a Giants player. And I don't know where he's going to end up, but if they got a chance to bring back Rizzo, man, just let him finish his career out here, and I'm sure the fans, Cub fans, would love that, to have some kind of familiarity to one from the past, from a guy who won a championship, and he's great in the clubhouse, leader. This guy I could see coaching one day, being a manager or being in the front office.
Mm-hmm. Well, every time I walk out of the studios here, I always see your guy in Windy City Limousine waiting for you very patiently. Maybe tell the folks how they can get that kind of service.
Well, special shout out to my man Mike, okay? And another special shout out to my normal driver, Gene, who is recovering right now from hip replacement surgery.
Yeah,
so that's so I haven't had him for the last 2 weeks, but my second guy I bring in is my man Mike. He comes in. I always request from Mike and Gene, and since Gene is out, Gene, I know you listen to the show religiously. Get well soon, my man, and let me know how that hip replacement is doing, because who knows, maybe one day I might have to do that. So but anyway, back to the read. Windy City. America, I like to put the sexy voice on just in case there's some people that love to listen to the Golden Pipe. So excuse me if I make you sweat.
You got any Luther Vandross music to go behind this?
Windy City Limousine provides championship service. Making a reservation is so easy, it's a slam dunk. Let Windy City break the full court pressure of traffic and get you to your destination in style and on time. Contact us at 866-94-WINDY. Again, that's 866-94-WINDY. And guess what? And Don likes it too. Oh, that's Don, ladies and gentlemen. Don, please get off the microphone, honey. We wait till we get home. We don't need that right now. This is if children listening.
You gave Don a shout out on Valentine's Day. That was nice.
Oh yes, yeah, you got to keep a happy home. You got to keep a happy home. You know what better way to profess your love for someone with a little heart? You know, we can all write cards. We can all send little flowers and all that stuff. But to have, hundreds of thousands of people know where your heart is and your significant other there sees it and she's like, oh, I'm so special. And you know what? It really kept the home happy. I got a lot of brownie points for that one.
I felt kind of bad for Adam, though. He had to say, I love you all, Bulls fans.
You know what? Listen. When
he works too hard. He's got no time for personal life.
Let me tell you something. When you're a playboy like Adam, okay, right. Adam's everywhere, man. He's got women all over the place. He's a young dude, man. He's a young guy.
He's traveling around the country.
He's not committed to anybody right now but the job. He's got the hardest. He's the hardest working man in show business. He's working for Fox. He's working for the Bulls. So he doesn't really have time to. But I'm trying to get him to take some time off and
stop
relax.
And smell the roses.
Yeah, just enjoy it, man. Because before you know, it's over. And then you want to know where half your life went, because you spent, all your time doing, nothing wrong with work, but sometimes you got to have a little fun too. So he's a great guy. Like we just had the Neil Funk. I mean,
that was great.
Let me tell you something. America, okay, for all the people who wanted to see the dynamic duo, and you didn't know you were going to get that treat because no one knew that he was going to do a quarter, And I tell you what, man, it was the awesome time. I mean, it brought back so many memories and. It was so great that, they were able to bring him back and get his true farewell because during COVID, when he retired, they couldn't do it. And you didn't want to bring him back to an empty arena. That just wouldn't have been, fitting for a guy that's put 30 plus years in the organization. So the Bulls brought him back and it was special for him and his wife, Renee, and his son and grandkids. And to have him sit there in that second quarter, and we haven't worked together in like almost 3 years. So, people thought, I didn't know how it was going to be, because it's like, okay, Neil. But the funny thing, when Neil sat there, he's like, I don't even know who we're playing.
Yeah, Oklahoma City.
he was being serious.
Yeah.
He was being serious. He didn't study or prep or anything.
Why should he? Yeah.
No, he didn't even know. He really didn't even know he was going to do that until like the very last couple of days. And so he didn't really study, but it didn't matter because people just wanted to see him. They wanted to see him, go out on his terms and hear his voice one last time. And I tell you what, man, that second quarter, that was the most fun I've had in a long time. And it just brought back so many memories of the great times that we've had. And, I wish he could have done the whole game. That's how much fun I was having because we didn't miss a beat. It was just like the banter was right back to where it was. And he got the standing ovation and everybody in there because that was his first time back since he's retired. And then Pax came on in the second quarter because he's close to all of us, And I asked him, I said, what is it that you missed the most? And he said, it's not calling the games. It's just the camaraderie that he has with me and, Pax and Bill and Chuck. Those are the things. And Adam, Adam got emotional. You saw that?
I saw the crossover.
The crossover.
Yeah.
He got emotional, And I was like, I know how he felt because when we shot the video, video. I had to take like 3 or 4 breaks because I literally was like crying through the whole thing, like because it didn't hit me till I did that video, and I was like, I'll do the videos now, I'll be okay. But when I got in there, man, because that was a realization that we were done. Yeah, like I'll never work with him again, and that he's gonna go off and do his thing, and that really resonated with me at that particular point. So they showed that too, and I was like, oh, no, don't show it all to me. Come on now, because I got this Clint Eastwood personality, I'm like this tough guy, but they broke me down to a fraction mark. They broke me down.
Shout out
violation.
Oh, there you go with the man code violation.
Hey, that
doesn't count.
Yeah, and you get the man code violations with every order of hot sauce.
Speaking of that,
all
because
21.
People are liking that. Like my guy Chris, who does at the score table, he's in charge of doing the score. he came over. He got a couple of bottles of hot sauce, and he brought the card.
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh my God, this is the best card. Oh my God, I didn't even care about the hot sauce. I wanted the man code card." I said, "Okay." He said, "You guys got to start revisiting that." So like, we got.
It sounds like something we'll do.
There has been some violations of lately. There's some violations.
We should make a segment next time.
Yeah, next time we'll do that. Coming up on a future
Exactly.
episode of Gimme the Hot Sauce. So a fitting honor for the great Neil Funk, getting a chance to broadcast one more time. And a shout out to Chris Ramirez and the great crew at Bulls TV for that video they put together to honor Neil. Brad Siegel, that was fantastic stuff. So want to thank Mike Brown for coming on episode 66 of Gimme the Hot Sauce. Pavel, time to go. There you go.
Oh my goodness! It's only preseason.
Drive home safely.
Yeah,
beep beep.
Thanks to all our loyal listeners. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Give me the hot sauce.
Goodness, give me the hot sauce, Neil Funk. Give me the hot sauce.
She'll like it too.
What are you doing, Dragons? Did you not get the memo?